Yo,
Watch out.
hey, J-Box, Eli, and Danny here again. It sounds like a TV show, but like we're in a news crew. But we're glad to be here with you guys. I know most of you, or any of you actually, aren't on yet since we just went live. So we'll see you guys in a second. But this recording is for the people who watch it later. So we just want to say hi. And while we're there, I think we already got a person on. So if you're here, make sure to let us know you're here in the chat. We'd love to say hi to you guys. We got Allie here, man. First one. Normally Aiden beats you. Actually, Aiden beats everybody. But we're glad you're here, Allie. Let us know how you're doing in the chat. But
We got 3 people.
yo, spiking. So what did we do today?
Pool.
Yeah, we went in the pool. It was too hot the other day, so we took off the pool cover, and it was like perfect today. So I liked it. Allie, we're doing good. We're just chilling. New week, new stuff to do. For me, I got new stuff to do. I'm finally getting out of the house. So like today, I had lunch with a friend, so it's pretty cool. But I'm excited for this week. You're too old now, but for J-Box, we have our Ask Away Q&A. I'll be leading that on Thursday for any questions that you guys have about God or Christianity or a bunch of different things. Like this week, we're going to talk about can we trust the Bible, and then any other questions that you guys have. So I'm excited, and in the next weeks to come, I got a lot of good ideas of where we can go, but I want to see what you guys want to ask. So make sure to put in the comments or in the chat box what you're interested to hear about, because I'd love to be able to answer as much as I can. And then we have Zoom game night. We're getting old.
I'm missing all this.
We have Zoom game night on Saturday at 7 o'clock. So that's from 7 to 8. So it's going to be a blast. Andrew and I got some great games planned. And then I got to come up with some more too. But it's going to be a good time. But yeah, I'm going to miss having you.
I won't.
Yes, I will. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. Did we do anything else noteworthy? I think we've just been chilling. It's summer, we don't have much to do. So it's 3:59. So we can go ahead and recap, and then hopefully some more people will hop on in a second. But I'll start recapping. Anything I miss, you fill in, and then we'll make this happen. So, 1 Kings. I'm fixing my hair because we just got out of the pool and I forgot to fix it.
My hair's too short to fix.
Yep. So, 1 Kings 17. Recap on the past few chapters. More bad kings. That's literally all I got for you guys. Literally, bad king after bad king after bad king. There's only a few good ones. So when you run into a good king, it's pretty exciting. But today we actually learn about one of the worst kings. So we've been going down, and now we just plummeted. So today we learned about King. We heard about King Ahab on over the weekend, if you had read, but today we finally get to hear a little bit more. So what happens in this chapter is that we see God raises up a prophet, someone who's a mouthpiece for God. His name was Elijah. He confronts King Ahab because of all of his sin and all the sin that he's leading Israel into. Eva Harvey. I'm guessing that was Lana. If it's Aiden, I'm sorry. Yeah, but Aiden normally comes in as Bub. So we'll see. But we're glad you got to join us today. So let's keep going. You want to recap a little more?
Yeah. So after the prophet Elijah is raised, King Ahab. Oh my goodness, what was he doing? Well, what sin was he committing?
He committed a lot of sins. I'll talk about it during my soap. I'll kind of cover some of the sins that he's talking about.
The point is, he sinned and he had gotten into a lot of trouble with God. So Elijah came and confronted him, and the consequence was that Israel would have a drought until Elijah comes back and says it's over.
Which was about 3 years.
Yeah. And so after this, Elijah fled to Kerith. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
I just got
and he was fed by ravens. and that was like awesome. So he literally had birds come over.
Wait. We gotta show them the video, Eli. We gotta show them the video.
What are you talking about?
The video. So, speaking of birds, I just remembered we had a great day the other day. We had we had baby birds in a tree near our house, like right in one of our trees. Rabbit trail. Yeah, well, it was worth it. So, my dad took a video the other day. I'm going to show this to you guys, and you need to see how crazy these baby birds are. Look at them. So, this is Elijah, and Elijah is getting fed like some baby birds. So, I hope that helps a little bit. But, yeah, fed by ravens. You want to keep going?
Yeah, and he drank water from a brook near where the ravens were bringing him all the food. So, he ends up having to leave because the brook dried up. So he ends up going into a small town. I can't even pronounce the name. Not even try.
Don't worry.
And he ends up finding a widow and her son, and he decides to go and live with them and try to kind of get and live with them, eat with them, talk with them.
Yeah, he asked for some food. He asked them for some water. Yeah. And I'll pick up here. What happens is that Elijah goes in, and there's a lady that he asks for some water, so she goes to get him water. But he also asks for some food. So, but the lady's like, I really don't have much food left. This is like the last meal I get to make because of this drought. So Elijah was like, well, let's go work on that. So he ends up helping to miraculously provide food for the family. But then a little later on, her son passes away because he was sick. So Elijah actually brings him back to life. So pretty crazy chapter. If you haven't read it, make sure to go take a look. But let's go ahead and hop into our soaps. So I'll start because mine is literally verse 1. So
mine's literally the last verse. So.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hop in, guys. So verse 1, it says, we're in the NLT version, in case you're reading in a different version, or if you're in the middle of a field, like Lana is right now. But if you got your Bible app open. But verse 1, it says, now Elijah, who was from Tishbe in Gilead, told King Ahab, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word. So this is the drought that we were talking about a second ago. No rain, no dew for the next. It actually ends up being 3 years, like we had mentioned. But what's interesting is that this happens because King Ahab had led Israel into a lot of sin. So since David, we see like a spiraling down of all these kings, getting worse and worse and worse, and getting more and more sinful. And in 1 Kings 16, the chapter from Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Lost track of my days, man. So in chapter 16, it mentions that King Ahab, in verse 30, it says, did what was evil in the Lord's sight, even more than any of the kings before him. So King Ahab is like top-notch evil, and he disobeyed God repeatedly, especially with worshiping other gods. So and he led the whole nation of Israel to follow his example. So with that, realizing God doesn't just bring a drought on the nation because just for no reason, just because of fun, but God brings it because there's a consequence for the sin of King Ahab and the people. It's not that God wanted to put them in the drought, but God needed to get their attention and get them focused on him instead of focusing on how to live in a way that that is opposite than he desires. So God sends Elijah as a mouthpiece for God to bring this doubt as the consequence. So that's my observation. I think it's I think it's pretty. It seems a little crazy. Like, man, God, why would you do that to all the people? But I think it. I think when we realize why it happens, that we can realize that God's looking out for us. He doesn't want us to keep going in our sin. So for my application, for me personally, I want to listen when God calls out my sin. I don't want to ignore Him or just push Him aside because I know how dangerous my sin can be whenever I ignore it. I want God to tell it to me, and I want to be quick to turn away from it. So, because I don't want to just hurt. That would not just hurt myself; it would also hurt Eli. It would hurt those around me. It hurt J-Box, and I don't want that to happen. So, I choose now for God to confront me and to help me turn away. So that was my soap. I thought it was pretty neat to see that in this chapter. So what you got? Verse 24, last chapter, last verse.
So verse 24, it's after after Elijah comes with the widow and lives with them, and after he heals or raises her son from the dead. And this was the woman's response. Then the woman told Elijah, "Now I know for sure that you are a man of God, and that the Lord truly speaks through you." So my observation was Elijah just did the impossible twice right before the woman had said this. He granted the widow and her son pretty much never-ending flour and oil till the drought ended, so that they could live and thrive through the time.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's like you can make a lot of pizzas with that.
I know, right? You just keep pouring, and it gets.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So it's
Magic trick.
Yeah, that would be a really good magic trick. And then afterwards, Elijah raises the widow's son who had died from illness, raises him from the dead, and that in and of itself is very like.
That doesn't just happen. People don't just come back.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often. I think Jesus and
Lazarus.
Like Jesus raised Lazarus, and then I'm pretty sure Peter had raised one of his friend's daughters. So that's pretty cool. So he's in an elite group. What else am I supposed to say? So both are impossible to do without divine power. So the widow who lived in a region of Galilee where the false god Baal was worshipped throughout the land, as King Ahab and Jezebel kind of made it the proper thing to do, which it shouldn't be. So this widow living in pretty much Baal-owned territory recognized that Elijah's God, our God, was working through him. Her response in verse 24 was mind-blowing. She recognized how Elijah's work was not just from him himself. He had divine power from God in order to do these things. Also, she didn't ignore the fact that there was divine influence in the circumstance. She didn't just pass it off and say, "Oh, it's dumb luck," but she recognized it and followed it and acknowledged it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that she doesn't go along with everybody else and just continuing to reject God, but that she chooses for herself. Like I've seen you work, God. I wanna stick with you because of that.
Yeah. So my application was we should be like both Elijah and the widow. We should do what God has called us to do with great faith, and we should do it in a way that reflects Him, as Elijah had done by helping out the family. And however, we should also be like the widow and acknowledge when God's hand is at work in our lives. We should be able to recognize it and praise Him for it. So yeah, that's my soul.
Yeah, I like it. I think when we do forget to stop and realize, we kind of start to drift away from God, just like King Ahab did. So we got a true at Eli. Yeah, I agree, Lana. So J-Box, that's 1 Kings 17. I forgot the number. Dude, I said 13 a few seconds ago before we started. 17. So let's go ahead and pray, and then then we're good going. So, dear Lord, I'm gonna start, and then you go, and we'll share about we'll pray off of our own soaps. So, yeah, God, we thank you so much for speaking through 1 Kings 17. God, I pray that you would be with all of us today, that we would choose to listen to you whenever you point out our sin, that we would be quick to turn away from it. We know that it's dangerous and that it can affect those around us. So, God, I pray that you would help us be receptive, that we'd be willing to hear what you have to say, and not just ignore you. God, I pray that you would help us to live lives that you want us to. Holy Spirit, may you give us the desire and the power to do that. And we pray this in Jesus' name.
Yes, Lord. Help us to live in a way that reflects you, and help us to live by faith and reflect you in all that we do, and let our work be able to be such a clear image of you that other people come to know you through our actions, and help us to be like the widow and not overlook when you are at work in our lives, Lord. And I thank you for letting us be able to learn from this chapter in First Kings, and helping us just be able to spend time together, virtual, and just go through this awesome chapter, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Boom. So, JVox, 1 Kings 17. Tomorrow is 1 Kings 18 with Gabby and Rihanna. So, make sure to tune in. I know it's going to be good. And then, real quick announcements for this week. Don't forget about the JVox Ask Away Q&A Thursday at 4 o'clock. So, instead of soap that day, make sure to read it on your personal time. We won't have a video of soap on Thursday. So make sure to tune in for the Q&A at that same time on Thursday. So, and then Saturday, we have our Zoom game night at 7 to 8. So make sure good time. So we're good going. And then I'm going to post my soap in the comments. Eli's going to do it as well. And then we will see you guys next time. So bye, guys.